Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thank you for stopping by, checking out our live Shop Talk Live. My name is Rick Ramirez, also known as Rick's 2 Cents, along with my fellow co-host Steve from Steve Makes Everything.
Howdy, y'all.
Andy from Andy Bird Builds.
Hello.
And Roger from Roger Shop.
Howdy, howdy.
See some people writing live, so obviously you have some questions. Let us know. And as always, we like to see where you're joining us from. So feel free to drop in the comments where you're joining us from. And I want to just say something really quick about our last live. We did have someone who won a rotary from Roger. Roger, I did confirm, and I will send you that today. Sorry for the delay. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because he said, Rick, this is my second winning. I feel bad I won't enter any future contests. And I said, no, I think that's awesome. And that shows if you're a loyal subscriber and you're a loyal watcher, that you have an opportunity to win things. Not only did he win a laser, but he won a rotary tool, and I think he won some.
Loyalty has its rewards, right?
Yeah. So I encourage him to join our lives. I encourage him to enter as many giveaways as he wants.
I would actually encourage him to buy lottery tickets.
Buy one for me, please.
Yeah, don't stop playing. Keep playing.
That's what I said. That's what I said. No, not at all. Although Canada does have a better lottery system. When you win the lottery,
yeah, Canada, you can win. Somebody here just won $60 million tax free.
Right.
I wish it was that way. We don't pay tax on gains like that.
Yeah,
I just wish I could take advantage of it.
You're about to pay a lot of tax.
Yeah. Here they'll probably.
Yeah, you guys will too, right? Nobody on this call, but. So I don't know, well, not that I want to talk about politics, but I don't know if the northern states know how much electricity that keeps their lights on comes from us.
Oh yeah, there's quite a bit on the grid that comes from up there. I'm familiar with the distribution grid. I'm sure Rick is too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where's like the cutoff? Like where would you say it starts coming? Like you electricians.
It can come from thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
If the distribution grid will take it, yeah, it can come from thousands of miles away.
So pretty much think everywhere in the United States, with an exception for Texas. Right? They're all on the same grid. So
yeah, Texas has got its own thing going on.
If the neighboring state needs power, you borrow.
See, this is why I didn't want to talk politics, because now we're chasing squirrels again.
Yeah, but you buy it though. But you buy it. It's not like even Steven, like you're buying it. So yeah.
Anyway, the guy who's in control of our power utility said, "Oh, it's easy. We'll just pull the plug." So if it gets cold in New York or Pennsylvania or even down into Ohio, you know why.
I think Canada's too dependent on the money. We'd figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we'd figure it out.
For now,
yeah, because you got to think like it's illegal for companies to own like whole areas, right? So they may not be the same company, but they may be owned under an umbrella company.
Yeah,
so from here to New York, maybe 5 different companies, but it may be kind of the same company.
All I know is that whatever it is, whoever's getting paid is getting paid a lot right now. Because I was thinking about this earlier, Steve. You need to maybe it's not your air, but it is your country's air, and you need to take it back.
Why?
That cold air has gone too far south.
Hey,
you need to take it back.
Hey, I saw snow on the news today. I saw snow in Florida.
Yeah.
I look outside my yard and I have green grass. So don't tell me about your cold weather, man.
I said
what amazed me was all the snow in New Orleans, because we've been down in New Orleans a lot. I mean, it just don't snow there. I don't know what the hell we're going to do with 8 inches of it.
They said it was snowing right down into Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Multicast said everything was shut down today due to ice on the roads. Hope you return to work soon tomorrow. Where are you from? North Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yeah, I saw. So we a few years ago we vacationed in the Outer Banks, North Carolina, and they get occasional snow. Don't get me wrong, but because it's not like far south. But it was a really crazy picture of like the beach sand, like covered in snow.
Yeah, when it snows here, that's what it looks like.
It's so weird. It's like,
but we have no snow, so
yeah.
Well, I'm okay with that.
I saw an article today online that said Allstate is raising their rate 17%. So I called him and I said, hey, what's the deal, man? Are you guys really raising your rate 17%? And he says, yes and no. I said, okay, what's that mean? He says, Allstate, like when you insure your house, you can insure your house for what you owe on your mortgage or what your house is worth. Allstate is no longer allowing you to insure your house for what you owe. You have to insure what it's worth. He said, so the people who are only, let's say you bought your house is worth 500,000, but you only owe 80 grand left on the house. Your insurance is super cheap. So when you go from an $80,000 policy to a $500,000 policy, you're going to have this huge increase. But I've always had my house insured for replacement value.
Yeah, I do too. That to me, that makes no sense to just have what's left on your mortgage, especially since I don't have one anymore.
Right. Yeah. So they were like, oh, well, if your house burns down, technically we pay off your land and you can get another mortgage and build a house. I'm like, no.
All right. Let's talk about lasers and CNCs.
Hey, there was a great question here. It said Canada needs to power our lasers. LOL.
Nice one.
Well, they power mine.
That's
actually my solar. I'm carbon neutral where I live. Like I don't pay electricity bills, right? Because I have solar panels.
That's a great segue.
Okay. Be honest. So you actually generate enough power to live completely off grid. You're not pulling any power off grid.
So I'm not allowed to be off grid here. You have to be connected, but I generate way more electricity than I use. So.
Huh. See, the problem with that here is if you don't have battery banks, let's just say when you're not using power, you're backfeeding for 10 cents. And when you do use power, you buy it back for 25.
Yeah. See, here, if I produce a surplus, it just gets my meter runs backwards, right? They push it back onto the grid. And it's like it's in a bank account for me. So in the wintertime, when I don't generate as much, I tap into it. And
nice. So when you say generate, like you're doing this with like CNC and lasers, right? Somehow you're capturing that energy.
CNC lasers. Yeah, I've 3D printed my own solar panels.
You've got a bunch of squirrels, and they're running to town.
Speaking of 3D printers, since Roger's here,
that's a fiasco.
I've been testing this FL Sun T1 Pro Delta 3D printer. This thing is sweet, man. 1,000 millimeters a second, and I've seen it. I've done it.
Well, I thought you were going to bring up Bamboo Labs' big boner they pulled this last week.
Well, which this week or anytime, because they pulled a few. But.
They pulled a big one this last week. It's like when they came out with New Coke, that kind of blunder, or when Bud Light put the transgender thing on their cans, that kind of blunder. It's just, it's all over YouTube now, and I haven't posted any videos on it myself.
What'd they do?
They're going to come out with a new firmware that's basically going to lock down your computer or printer rather, supposedly for security purposes.
Lock it down.
Only
it's going to lock you out? No, it's going to lock you out from using third-party software like Orchid Slicer, or if you have an A1 and use a pen to touch screen, you won't be able to use it. Well, then they've backpedaled a little bit and said, well, the new firmware really is still in beta, and we're not going to release it yet. The release date was supposed to be tomorrow, and they've backed that out now. But what that would essentially do is, if you do the new firmware update, would prevent you from using any third-party software or third-party peripherals. And there are some other hacks, and there's another open source firmware you can put onto an X1 Carbon if you sign a waiver, and it's gotten to be just a mess.
Crazy.
And from what I understand, there's been just thousands of people have canceled orders.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe the safest thing to do is to just disconnect your Bamboo printer from the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a thing too. There's a code that's in the firmware from when it was manufactured, and that code expires in 10 years unless that code gets updated by firmware. So it could, if you never updated your firmware, kept using your printer, you're going to get to that certain point, it's going to brick it.
Someone will crack it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
They'll crack it.
Well, I'm happy to say that an FL Sun runs. They have their own slicer, but it's basically Orca Slicer. You can run Orca Slicer.
So Jim said, "Hey, he beats his house with a ladder and a 3D printer. Somebody else.
Yeah. So I don't know about anybody else, but I have a spouse, and my spouse forbids me to run a laser in my house. Suffice it to say, if I ran a laser in my house, it would get very heated.
This is the question. Jim said, do you have recommendations for a 4 or 6 inline fan? I would suggest you go on Amazon and you look for a fan for a hydrophonic.
Vivo Sun.
Right. The only reason I'm saying that is because they're meant to never turn off. So the bearings are going to last forever and they're going to be able to handle it. Because if you're buying something that's like for an attic or something like that, they're not meant to be on 12 hours constant, right? And you're going to bear out the bearings. So those hydroponic fans.
Make sure you buy one with ball bearings as opposed to bushings.
Right.
They'll tell you if it's got ball bearings because they want to sell that feature, right?
Yeah. So hydrophonic fans, because weed is becoming so legal everywhere, the price is coming down. They're mass producing them, and they're actually really, really good quality. So you can probably buy the same identical fan that's not labeled hydrophonic, and it costs you twice as much, right?
I'm sure there's some Canadian company that sells really good weed fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the brand name I use is called Vivo Sun. It's made for hydroponics, and they're actually quiet. Yeah. I've got one down in the shop, and I got one in the laser 3D printer room up here in the loft.
Yeah, that's what I have
quiet.
Too. I have one of those too.
Yeah, me too.
Compared to the
I have a 6-inch.
No, the XTool fan, the little IF2, it moves a ton of air, but holy cow, it's loud.
Yeah.
I like it. Like, it's mounted on my wall. I use it every day, but it's pretty loud.
Clayton said, aloha from Hawaii. Everyone smash that like button. Hit it.
Hey, Clayton.
So I just looked up the fan that I bought a while ago. AC Infinity. Looks like, I'm looking on Amazon. It says bearings dual ball. So I'm assuming that's ball bearing?
Yeah.
Yeah. $100. 6-inch inline fan.
Yeah, it's a ball bearing on each end of the shaft.
Yeah, now we're going back and forth between the 4 and 6, and then I'm doing the 6. Yeah. So LTX Design said, we had a sprinkle of snow here, and the city shut down. It wasn't even enough to cover the hood of my truck.
So for Andy's benefit, I happened to be in Lexington, Kentucky one time about this time of year, and they got snow. And I thought, like, the way they were reporting it on the news in the morning before I went outside, it was like the world has just come to an end.
Yeah.
And I looked outside, and it was like this. And I thought, okay, you guys got to come to Canada.
Well, yeah. Did you ever see all the ice they get by Clack?
Yeah.
That's thick.
Yeah.
You guys see that video? He put ice cubes on his windshield.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nancy said, "Happy Hump Day, gentlemen. Happy Hump Day, Nancy. Happy Hump Day."
Hey, Nancy.
Hey, Nancy, did you ever get your CO2 laser up and running?
The mirror's aligned, right?
Yeah.
Alignment.
Mom port. Hello.
Yeah, I can see where Sam Kraft to be ticked because all them Bamboo Lab printers he has a lot of them.
He's got a farm, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have 16 3D printers, and I was eventually going to update everything and go all Bamboo Lab, but now I'm not so sure I'm going to do that.
So I was, with this FL Sun, I was printing things like this. This is pretty much solid. It's not like 10% infill. This takes about 4.5 hours on the Creality K1 Pro. This took about a little over 2 hours on the FL Sun. It is just amazing. Like, you look at Delta printers, I don't know if you've ever seen one. It looks like this big fragile thing, but man, they move. And they actually have a faster one. They have the S1 Pro, which is 1200 millimeters a second. And I don't know how they can squeeze filament through that hot end that fast, but every print is perfect on it.
So I went down the rabbit hole watching every YouTube video I could on CNCs, really trying to make my mind up on which one I would like to purchase. I had 3 top hitters. The 150 Elite, the 4x4, right? The Carbon 3, the Shapeoko, or however you say it. How do you say it?
Shapeoko. Yeah,
Shapeoko. Shapeoko 5. And then the the alt mill, right? Those are my top threes. And what I came to the conclusion of, and I'm only saying based on watching other people's video because I don't physically have never used them, is the alt mill is the fastest, but it's the buggiest. It's a new kid on the block, and it has kinks they still need to work out.
How could it be faster? Doesn't it have smaller stepper
Oh,
motors?
no, they did side-by-side comparisons, same exact files and run them, and it's like
but how is that possible? Because you're setting the speed and all the acceleration. Well, they could amp up the acceleration in firmware, I guess. But...
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're saying out of box experience. They're not adjusting whatever the manufacturer sets to. So they're saying you could modify the settings to be able to go faster.
Anyone who's ever hit the home button on a Onefinity Elite knows that the out of box experience is not correct.
Yeah.
You need to speed that puppy up about.
Well, not just the home experience, just engraving in general, right?
No, I know.
Right. And then the Sharpuko 5, that's like the most well-rounded out of box hit the ground running. But the Onefinity kind of seems like it's more robust, like a firmer, less. What they were saying is that, and the flip side of that coin is they say they make this big robust system, but they still only have 4 screws holding the router on. So like it's like
holding it to the table.
Right. So like it's like,
well, there's more than 4 screws. There's 4 screws in each corner.
That clamp?
You're talking about the thing that holds the spindle?
Yeah. When it goes
no. To the spindle? Or are you talking? I think he's talking about the rails to the.
No, not the rails. Just the thing that goes the front piece that actually goes over the top.
Yeah. Well, how many screws are you going to put in it? 6? What's the difference?
Yeah. No. They were saying that just the other manufacturers seemed a little more firmer in there. There was less.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think that's.
But what I'm watching is all these guys. The guys that I was watching, looking at, they're all reputable. Like.
Yeah. Well, whatever, but they're also, we all have our biases, right? So
yeah, no, but the funny part was
so all I can tell you is I have plowed my spindle with a 1/4 inch bit. I've plowed it through a piece of wood with the spindle stopped, and it carved a very rough groove through a piece of hardwood and didn't rattle that spindle at all. So I'm kind of doubtful that that's really impactful. But
all 3 of those machines could do that.
Yeah. I think it's kind of, like I said, I think they're maybe stretching for something to complain about. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to complain about things on the Onefinity, there are things definitely to complain about. But
it's really interesting. Like, so I'm deep in this right now. I'm releasing a video the plan is next Thursday. It's going to be one of those videos where all the machine fanboys are going to come out and you're
going to create enemies.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to my world, man.
But it's my opinion, right? It's my biases based on my experience. So yeah, all 3 of those machines, it's interesting. Like, maybe we can discuss this. Like, why are people, I'm trying to figure this out. Maybe I'll include this in the video. Why are people so predisposed to comparing speed?
Yeah.
It's like speed.
Yeah.
There is so much more to it than speed.
Especially a CNC.
Especially a CNC. Like,
yeah, I thought it was funny when I was watching one of his reviews. The guy, he was an affiliate for all of them. Like, he's like, so I'm not being unbiased, because honestly, anyone you click on, I'm gonna make a little ching ching if you click on my affiliate link. Wow, so I'm just gonna tell you the weak point, that I think is the weakest point in this machine. I'm not saying it's a horrible machine. I wouldn't even recommend you buy it at all. But I'm just gonna be honest on any flaw that I see. So he seems pretty transparent.
I mean, my approach is the same way, and I know you all feel the same way about lasers or CNCs. I mean, the size of my audience and the authority that I have kind of in the CNC dedicated CNC space, I literally have been offered every single one of those machines. Like, I could get any of them, and that's not me bragging or anything, but just like, it's I'm not going to even reveal my choice unless I think people are going to ask me directly, but it's not of like, oh, he got that for free. I could get any of them for free. Like, so that there's no bias there, right? I use what I like, and I'm going to tell you the reason why I like it.
Yeah. Now, to answer a question that was up a little bit ago about if you need an exhaust fan for PLA or PETG, no. If you're going to use ABS or ASA, yes, you do.
So, Roger, do you want to step it back and explain the difference if someone doesn't even know what that question meant?
The PLA and a PETG, when you're printing it, you aren't even going to smell anything. At least I don't. Maybe my smeller is not as good as it used to be. But anytime you're using ABS or ASA, you're going to have high temperatures to start with. You need an enclosed printer for those, and they do make fumes, and those fumes are toxic.
What's the setup like? Like, let's say I was going to run. Can I even run that in my Bamboo?
Did you get an X1?
No, I got the P1S.
Well, it's enclosed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can run ASA or ABS.
So how would I set that exhaust up, like in an enclosed system like that?
Since I'm not familiar with what the P1S exactly looks like architecture-wise, does it have an exhaust fan in it? The X1 Carbon does.
Can you grab it?
And you could theoretically duct from that.
Okay.
Yeah, you could just put a hood over top of it too.
Gotcha. Just kind of fix
really just
where the exhaust fan is blowing out, like just connect ducting to that point right there.
Yeah.
Pull a paper roll and a tarp. You're good.
You can 3D print something or put a. Actually, I've seen people put a rain hood over the top of their printers when they're printing ABS.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, those work too to exhaust the fumes.
Just something to get those fumes out of the room.
You can buy one of those fancy all orange covers. You seen those? That's like $8 million. They look very cool though.
You're gonna see me printing ABS like in my kitchen. I'm gonna have the range hood on.
Nice. There you go. Now you're thinking.
Not many people print ABS anymore. It's kind of gone out of fashion. I actually have a roll sitting here.
Nice.
I'll use ASA before I use ABS because ABS it's hard to keep it from warping. It's really hard.
Steve, someone wants you to drop a link to that printer you were talking about.
Well, I can. I don't have an affiliate link, so just shoot me an email. Look, my email address is in the description of any one of my videos. Just shoot me an email and I'll send you one. I will have a video out for it probably. Well, I better have it next week, or the FL Sun people will be angry with me. So I made a commitment, and then I went on a trip for 2 weeks. So
you know what's crazy is that terrible efficient setup using reclaimed wood from the lake to make souvenirs, and that actually sells for a lot of money. Some people just buy driftwood. That's it. You don't do anything.
But it's not really driftwood though. It's just like if you're pulling like deadheads out of the water, those things are dense, man.
Old logs. It's a lot of it's really old growth, and the rings are going to be real close together. Extremely dense.
Like where I grew up as a kid, there's a big river, and they used to run logs there 200 years ago, 150 years ago, and they still pull these logs out of the water, and you can see the stamp on the end of them. And they're just like brand new wood, but they're 150 years old. And people love those things. They'll pay big money for them. Yeah. Woodworkers. They have to kiln dry them for about a year, but
I got a fume clear for my fumes. It's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. How many people have fume extractors? I don't know. I've never been inspired. I think the best way to get rid of fumes is to put them outside. Make them your neighbor's problem.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember
like use a fume extractor if you have to. Like if you live in the 27th floor of an apartment building, sure. But
or if you're at a trade show.
Yeah. I like the XTool AP2. I'm actually going to build a movable desk in my shop, and I'm going to put that inside it so that I can put lasers on it, move it around. But at the same time, it's so much easier to vent outside if you can, and out of literally out of sight, out of smell in this case.
Yes. I tell you what, though, I'm glad I got a new furnace before we got this Arctic freeze. I would have hated for my furnace to
You
go
guys are
out
all
like that.
soft, man. Well, you live in Illinois, so you probably have a little.
-11.
Yeah,
Like,
we
I've
were
lived in
below 0
21
all
for
week. Yeah, we've been below 0 all week. Today it's
So-
like 20, but that's like a heat wave now.
So here I'm converting. It was about -15 Fahrenheit today, which is like insanely cold here. That's like bodies in the street kind of temperature for here. And I got soft when I lived in the center part of the country. Like 40 below was something you saw at least once in your lifetime. But here, when the temperature where I live right now, the temperature, if it drops about 5 degrees below freezing, it's like, that's it. I'm not going outside. It's too cold.
Hence the background.
Well, you know, I have a thing for the beach, right? So my beach doesn't look like this. My beach is just all rock.
I don't think you actually live in Canada. I think that's a real window behind you.
Oh, well, it could be. Somebody actually made a comment. They said with a you know, a look like a view like that outside my window, why would I be working in a shop? And I had to confess that it's all fake.
No,
Now this is my Zen room too, right? Like I have my sofa back there, and when I feel all stressed, which granted doesn't happen as much as it used to when I was working, I could just come in here and crash, right? Drink beer. That's the solution.
I don't ever feel stressed. I don't need anything like that.
that's
Yeah,
what I
well,
felt.
there's a good reason to have a penis tracker.
That's a different type of couch interview.
Yes, it's not that kind of
It
couch.
wasn't a black couch.
I purposely didn't. I purposely ordered this color.
He's like,
personally, that
you're not the
reason.
only one with a couch in your studio.
Yeah,
There's a couch and an easy chair up here in the loft, and I got a bunch of crap piled on them, so I couldn't sit on them if you wanted to.
So for the Omni One, really any of them will work. Yeah.
So
UV
Nancy, I
lasers tend to need less intense fume extraction because you're not really doing deep engraving. You're not engraving wood probably, and if you do, it's an ablation process, not a burning process like a diode laser. So instead of smoke, you're just getting little particles of dust blown off the surface.
I would just say buy a 6-inch, go big or go home, because you're going to use it on your mount port. You're going to use it on everything, right? You're not going to buy 6 pants. They're all in the same room.
Like on my workbench where I have lasers, I have 4 of them there, and I just move for now at least, because I just built it. I just move the pipe from one to the other, but there are times when I want to run 2 and I have to build something different there.
Yeah, so I ran 6-inch water main PVC.
Yeah.
And duct it straight to
I
every
used
single one of my lasers.
Yeah, I used 4-inch for mine and my vacuum system in my shop too.
Yeah. So, but when it comes down off the 6-inch and goes to laser, it's 2.5. I think that is.
Yeah, I think it's 2.5 or 2 1/4.
Yeah, I coupled it down, so I didn't want a big 6-inch, but it's 6 inches fall on my floor joist.
Yeah.
So anybody have any questions? Let us know. Let us know. Appreciate everyone
I
enjoying.
have been ice fishing. So I have never been ice fishing.
You
Just
live in Canada,
going
you've never
outside in
been
the
ice
wintertime just does not seem like a good thing for me to do. So
What
I
the
did it
hell?
when I was like really young, like a teenager, but I have not done it since because I do not like the cold.
sitting my behind on a piece of ice does not enthuse me in the slightest.
So if you have to use a vent, what I would suggest that you do is they sell these floor AC units that you can roll around.
Yeah.
And those floor AC units actually have these attachments because the AC unit's going to suck air and it has to blow hot air outside, right? So if you have a roll around AC unit, they have these kits that actually go into the window and you can close the window on it and then you can actually put your duct to it. So I would go on Amazon and buy one of those because now you're not fabricating something to fit. It's actually made for that, but you're actually using it for something else. But it's the same sizes. It's going to fit your window perfect. You know.
So what I did up here in the loft and back in the laser 3D printer room was I cut a piece of plywood that will fit that window opening that I could close the window down on and weather strip around it. And I've got 2 4-inch dryer vents poking out through it with backdraft louvers on them.
Yeah, but that's also on the second floor, Roger.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't. If that was someone's first floor, someone come in. So it's like an extension ladder and come in. So, that's all the reason I was saying that.
Yeah. So good segue to this question. A lot of fume extractors also have an output pipe on them, and you can then subsequently run it outside if you want. For this particular thing, if you have an F1, just buy the AP2. It's really not that much money compared to some of the others, and the running costs are arguably a little cheaper because you don't have to replace an entire big box of filters. You only have to replace one filter at a time.
Just if you can externally vent, always do.
Yeah, and it has an external output on it, so you can still vent it outside after you've filtered.
Yeah, just like my Bonport K40, I have the filter inside. It's still externally vented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
runs through it, just like you said.
Anyway, if you have so the reason I'm not just saying if you have an XTool laser, get an XTool filter. When you run the AP2, the XTool filter, you get control of it in XCS as well. If you're running XCS, and it'll show you filter status and all kinds of things from inside XCS. It's a toasty 55 degrees.
I could go for that.
Somebody here did the conversion. Yes, minus 15 Fahrenheit is probably 46. Oh, he's called it 46 Fahrenheit. I thought you did the conversion to Celsius or something. So that's normal. So where I live, temperatures bounce around plus and minus, freezing a few degrees. So, but we do get, like now when the Chicago people or the Illinois people let cold air slip away, it ends up here.
Nancy said I'm 15, 20 minutes away from that view. Not to brag, but it's toasty 55 degrees.
I don't know. I think this is the Maldives, actually. If you live 15 minutes from there, you're in the ocean somewhere. But if you live in Florida, if you live in Florida today, you might have been shoveling snow, but I guess South Florida probably didn't have to endure that.
Multicraft said, I bought a Crowdy hood for my laser, but the fan they provide is too small, actually 3-inch. Yeah, most of the time they're just desktop fans, so you can replace them anyway.
Yeah, they're just like PC fans.
Yeah, CPU
fans.
type fan. Nate said, yes, but I'm not going to take those holes off the mom part every time I'm using it.
So what you can do is get a couple of gates and put a T there, and then you can just turn one or the other or both open, and you can vent both of them.
So I actually turn it off, gates, like you said. So that I'm not sucking air. But if you wanted to get fancy, you just wanted one hose. They even have those magnet ones.
Yeah.
You can just put a coupler, boop, pull it apart.
Yeah, that's if you want to move them, right? You can get the little magnetic mount and do that.
I use blast gates down in the shop. In fact, I 3D printed all my own blast gates, but you can make them any size you want when you do it that way.
Yeah, I 3D printed a couple of mine and then realized, for less than the time it takes to print one, I can drive to like the woodworking store, buy a handful of them for like $5 a piece, and bring them home, and still be watching my printer finish off the job. So
well, I wanted mine to be custom so I could glue them directly into a 4-inch PVC hubs.
Yeah, well, if you use plastic ones, if you used ABS ones, you could epoxy them in.
Yeah, I just noticed that even though they say 4-inch, sometimes in all four, like when you're measuring, because the thickness could be different and the diameter is different. So when you're coupling,
the 4-inch on a blast gate is outside dimension.
No, but there's thick wall, thin wall, so you got to make sure.
It doesn't really matter though. It's still 4 inches on the outside.
Yeah, to get it into a PVC hub though, it needs to be 4.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Whatever the.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I had to do some finagling, like Roger said. I was
measuring. I did something to mine too. I recall.
It was a 3 trips to Home Depot type thing.
3, man, you lucked out.
Nancy said, "Lotto numbers, Rick." I'm trying, man. I play my little $6 every week. Nothing yet.
I figure I'm about $1 million richer just by not playing the lottery over my lifetime.
Nancy said, "Yeah, I wish that would work. I have those big windows with the old style crank. All the ones that go this way.
Yeah,
windows.
you can still build a like what Roger suggested. You can still cut a piece of plywood to fit inside that, and I mean you have to open the window when you're using your laser, but you can just put your pipe on the piece of plywood and then open your window to vent it out.
Yeah, you basically have to open like 4 inches, and then put that board on an angle. Right?
An angle? Why?
Because the window's going to be on an angle.
Well,
no, don't put it in the window. Put it on the frame.
Yeah.
And I'm pointing at my window, which you can't see.
Yeah.
But I mean, the inside of the frame, there's always a place to mount something, and you can just cut a piece that fits right in there.
Yeah, I put a hole straight through my side of my house, and there's a dryer bit on the outside.
Well, that's what I did in my shop, but
yeah,
a couple times. In fact,
my wife was like, "Someone's gonna call the fire department and think there's a fire in our house because there's like smoke pouring out."
Yeah. I've had that experience. My wife will call me in my workshop from the house, and she'll say, there's like a fire or something. I say, no, I'm just cutting plywood.
yeah. But you know what? It helps so much. Like when I first got my laser, man, my wife was not having it. My house, she's like, "Our house smells like a gerbil cage." Blah 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 blah. She was mad because I love cedar, so that smell has like a distinctive smell.
Yeah.
Well, you won't have any moths then if you got cedar growing around.
I love the smell of cedar.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Let's see here.
Yeah, I mean, use a filter if you have to. The thing I don't like about filters isn't whether they work or not. It's the fact that you got to keep buying filters, and they're not cheap, right? It's kind of the filter business is kind of like the inkjet printer business. They give you the printer and then they sell you the inkjet cartridges for about $50 a piece.
Right. Yeah. Here's a printer for $99, and the refill your inks is $250.
Or it could be like HP where you can't even use your scanner on your printer if there's no ink.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I have no HP anything around here anymore.
Yeah, I used to be a big HP guy. Now I'm Epson. Everything's Epson.
I've never really owned much in the HP world.
Yep. Once HP was stuck with the big multicolor, and Epson came out with every individual color cartridge, I was like, yeah.
See, I have to give Nancy props here for being very polite, saying her husband is not too handy. My wife would say, "You're just useless."
Yeah, I always say. my wife always tells people like, "Oh, my husband could do that." I said, "You gotta calm down, man. You gotta like insult people because not everyone's like that, And a couple of times we go to our friend's house and we walk in, their dryer's on. It's like, wah, wah, wah. My son's like, "Oh, that's an easy job. Me and my dad rebuilt our whole entire dryer in 35 minutes. You should take that apart." Right? He's 5. You know what I mean? Their husband's like, "Oh, I couldn't do that." He's like, "Why not? You're a man." I'm like, "Because he's not Mexican. Don't worry about it." Because we're Mexican, not Mexicans.
Yeah, you definitely want a Y fitting instead of a T. It does
Yes.
help with the airflow. Just make sure you put it in the right direction.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Make sure it sounds stupid, but make sure you got the fan going the right direction too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Make sure that the blowing end is on the output side.
It doesn't seem to be helping. Oh, we both did it. 45
Celsius.
Oh,
Okay,
summer
that's a
down there,
reason not to live in Australia. Well, that and about 8 million poison snakes and spiders, but that's like blistering hot, man.
Nancy,
I have seen 45 degrees, not where I live now, but in the middle part of the country a couple of times in my lifetime, and it is just insane.
Nancy, that's the Facebook group.
Yeah, everybody should join that. Just to see Paul's
artwork.
His artwork, yeah.
Yeah, so if you haven't already joined our Facebook group, make sure that you do. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that everyone's sharing files, sharing tips, whatever. It's kind of like within the group, you kind of no hold back, because everyone's so secretive of their settings. Everyone's so secretive. But when we're kind of like amongst ourselves, people are being a little more forthcoming. That's cool. That's definitely cool.
Yeah. Also, subscribe to all of our channels.
There you go.
Subscribe.
Epson EcoTank is the way to go.
I have an EcoTank.
All of our printers here are Epson EcoTanks, and even my sublimation printer.
So speaking of printers, did you see the XTool apparel printer? This would probably be more pertinent to Rick.
I saw something. They announced something. I saw an email or something.
Yeah, being good.
The nice thing about it is it's all one process, right? You don't have to run powder over the thing and heat it, and then
you have to.
It's all one step. Yeah, but it's all one step.
No.
Yes, it prints, then it does whatever you have to do to get the powder on there for the adhesive, and then it heats it, and it spits out a thing at the other end you can iron onto something.
What's it called?
Right.
The
XTool
apparel printer.
Yeah, it's a DTF.
What a creative name.
Here's the problem with a DTF printer.
Well, they couldn't call
it has to be 50% humidity at all times in that room. Otherwise, you are always going to have print head problems. If you have a house and you're keeping it at 50% humidity, man, you're on the borderline of starting to create mold issues. So you got to really watch that. You got to keep it up, but you got to watch that for one. And for two,
I would have thought higher humidity would cause more mold.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because the normal house here, it's about 30 to 35. That's what your furnace is going to keep it at. So in the wintertime at least, right? When your air kicks on, you're fighting the other way around. But in the wintertime, your house is about 30 to 35. That DTF printer will not run if you're not like 50. You're going to have streaks, especially in the white. And everything is a white base and then the color on top of it, right? And then a DTF printer, you cannot sit more than 24 hours. Period.
Well, so XTool claims they've solved that
problem. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you.
Well, we'll see what it looks like. But
I've been doing DTF since it came out.
Yeah,
I was one of the top first four in the United States.
Given what XTool has done in the last 2 years, I wouldn't underestimate anything that they do.
I'm telling you.
They even have a curriculum now if you want to learn how to use your laser.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So, and white in particular is really finicky. You have to shake it, you have to stir it, you have to do, you have to watch the expiration dates. Colors, not a big deal. You can have expired color inks and use them, but if your white ink expires and you run it through, man, you just $1,100 print head.
Well, like I said, they claim to have solved these problems, and
so
there were a few problems they claim to have solved with their F1 Ultra and their P2, and they certainly did. So
I'm just saying, Epson is the biggest printer manufacturer in the world. They make DTF printers. You're not gonna get a better printer than them.
Yeah, well, they use the Epson 1600 head, right?
Oh, everyone uses their heads because nobody makes their own.
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying is the rest, the components, the actual printer itself.
Yeah, anyway, we'll see. I have no reason to disbelieve or believe them, so
yeah,
time will tell.
4K, is that pricey? I have no idea.
Yes, because
it's a 14-inch though.
Right, no, because for
and it also includes the heater, right? So
yeah, but it's a mini shaker, which doesn't mean much at all.
I think it said that it doesn't. I was just looking at this.
Yeah, so a mini shaker is like $800.
Yeah, it says it does not include the shaker oven.
Yeah, so a mini shaker,
it's an add-on, I think.
Yeah, a 13-inch mini shaker is like $800. For $5,000, you can get like a 32-inch 8-color print head, two print heads. So you'll have 2 whites, you'll have more than one, so that and then you might even have an extra spare. So if one of yours gets clogged, you can just keep running your job.
Yeah, I think they have two whites in there as well.
Yeah.
Well, because it's the Epson dual print head, right?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Just you cannot not use it. So if you
like I said, they say they've solved these problems. So
yeah,
time will tell.
I haven't used my Shapoka 3 yet, but as you know, it's belt driven. What issues should I expect?
Clack is on the call here. Really none, right?
Yeah, Shapeoko 3. That was my first CNC I ever owned, and The major problem with that one is it is vital that you upgrade the Z-axis carriage. The stock Z-axis carriage is actually belt driven. And they released an update to that really quickly. So if you have, it's called the HDZ, and you'll be good to go. You won't have any issues.
Do you get bouncing off the belts? That was the reason I didn't buy one. I just thought when the thing is moving fast and it stops to change direction, that it's going to bounce, right? Because the belt will stretch a bit.
Yeah, honestly, like I can see there being like minuscule accuracy like differences, but I'm not exaggerating. I mean, I made thousands of products in the 3 years I had that machine. And I sold thousands of thousands of dollars, several thousands of dollars of which that's not even a good way to put it. How do you, tens of thousands? Hundreds of thousands seems like, wow, he sold like almost $1 million. Wasn't that much, but I would say between $80,000 and $100,000 with the Shapeoko 3. Like that was my first machine that I was like crank. And this again was back in 2018, so 7 years ago. I never once replaced belts.
No,
never once.
Well, they're GT3 or something, right? Those belts or 4s.
Yeah. And then so on the Shapeoko Pro, I think they went to GT6. GT6s, I believe. So there's virtually no stretch in those.
A GT6 is probably not going to bounce.
Yeah. So honestly, this is a very unpopular opinion, but a belt-driven CNC is more capable than most people think.
So
I didn't think it wasn't capable. I just thought that you'd get bounce off the belts.
What I'm saying is in general, right? And that's where Onefinity made their money was
ball screws. Yeah.
Ball screws. Yeah.
But is it safe to say that it's a big step in improvement since it first came out with belt driven?
No, I honestly don't think belt-driven CNCs have changed that much over
I'm talking about the belts themselves. That maybe was the cause of the problem.
No, I mean, I'm no engineer, so I wish I was an engineer and I could speak to the specifics of like belts. Like obviously, ball screws are better,
right?
More accurate.
I'm an engineer.
More repeatable. But
so it depends on the belt. Some of them used like nylon cord or something in them, and some of them have metal, like have steel fiber in them.
Yeah.
And we just got 7 people to request to join the Facebook group. Thank you. I just approve.
Sweet.
Keep coming. But Steve, what I was saying is not necessarily you, but in general, the communities, people are like belts. On a CNC?
Oh, well, that's good marketing though on the part of Onefinity and a few others, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's belts on your car and you drive it 100 miles an hour.
Okay, there's no belts on my car.
Excuse me.
My car is direct drive. All right, I want to go back to this. So Nancy, I'm not overly worried about the cost of the film because if they're going to make, it's probably just Mylar or Teflon or something. I don't know. What do they make the film out of, Rick?
It's called PET film. It has a special coating on it, and it makes a huge difference. So,
but it's probably only a matter if this thing is popular, it'll only be a matter of time before some other company starts pumping out rolls of this stuff.
Oh, there's probably 40 different companies in manufacturing.
So the difference here though is they use like tractor feed on them, so they got the holes up the sides.
Oh.
But if somebody already knows how to make the film, they'll just make them, right? I'm not worried about that. So it might be proprietary, and XTool isn't in the business of really gouging you for the aftermarket stuff. They make money, I'm sure, but they aren't like the inkjet printer business, it seems. And for this reason, they couldn't be anyway, because somebody would just undercut them and
right.
Put
so there's
that
a
piece
huge
of their business out.
There's a huge difference in powder too. So there's going to be like a soft touch powder that you use on a shirt that's going to stretch.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be a more coarse that you can actually DTF on wood.
Yeah,
Like,
see, that's what I'm looking for.
yeah, you can DTF on wood, but if you use that same powder, and there's 3 different grades. There's like there's fine, medium, and coarse, right? And it's literally exactly what it is, like how the granules are. And I prefer the medium, and the reason is because after you press it, sometimes there's fall offs, and that little tiny granules can fall on the shirt, and it can leave like a residue behind. So after you press it, you pull it off, it transfers. When you hit it again with the press, it like almost creates a gas, and it's gone. You'll literally see like gas go, and that's the other thing. Like,
sounds like another reason for a fan.
So they've already proven that PET film and the DTF powder is cancerous, and they're fighting it now. Yeah. Whoa. So when I first started, I remember my throat would burn. Like, my throat would be burning. I sound like I was going through puberty, like, hey, you know what I mean? But it was externally vetted. But when you pull that shirt up, it would be like, it's like a dry cleaner. You know what I mean? Like, see that steam? And then obviously 2 years later, 3 years later, you know, the powders are getting better, but they're toxic, highly toxic. So just
how could the film be cancer causing? Because PET is just standard plastic. It's the thing they make water bottles out of, right?
It's just not just PET. You know, there's some proprietary.
Yeah, they probably put some layer of like benzene on it or something.
Yeah, there's some kind of between the chemical reaction between the DTF powder, right, and the actual film. It's like a glue, you know, right? It's gonna.
Yeah.
So basically, you know, and the thing is, so you can have good ink and bad powder, or bad powder and good ink. So if it's good, you could literally take the transfer, pull it off the paper, and stretch it like this big, and it won't even rip. You know,
anyway,
take an 8x5
to see one of these 5
things. You know?
XTool hasn't committed to giving me one, but I hope they do at some point.
Yeah, I mean, on a DTF,
what I'd like to do actually is compare it head to head with the new one from who are the other big printer company? They just came out with a new one. It's another Kickstarter project, and now it's going to haunt me.
Yeah, everyone uses Epson printer heads. Everyone does.
So, hey, Rick, on their FAQs, I have no dog in this fight at all.
Okay.
So, but it says, is the printer difficult to maintain? It says, as long as the printer remains plugged in, it continuously monitors internal humidity and temperature to automatically trigger print head cleaning and white ink circulation, reducing the risk of clogging.
Right. So what happens is you have a tank, right? And inside of it has like a stir. The problem is that in order for that stir to work, it's like a 1/4 inch to 3/4 of an inch off the bottom. So that settles. And inside of that white ink, it has like a metallic, some kind of like a metallic something in it that makes it do that bond. So you have to actually take that off and like shake it, because even when you have a stir, it settles at the bottom. And then so what happens when you start printing white, you'll notice streaks. And they call it binding. So what you're actually doing is binding your print head, and you do not want to bind your print head with white. Other colors, you can clean it pretty good through your print head. You start binding your print head with white, man, you might be binding a new print head. And you can flush it, but if you over flush and get too much fluid, there's all kinds of electronics out by that print head. You fry your motherboard, now you're $1,800 in, replace the motherboard, and $1,000 in for a print head. You know, then you're gonna be mad. So. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm learning. Yeah. This is all new to me.
So DTG prints. It's direct garment printing. It prints the ink directly onto the shirt. It's the best feeling shirt you can buy because the actual fabric absorbs the ink, right? So if you were to close your eyes and you rub it, you can't feel where it starts or finishes. But the problem is that DTG, when you wash it, it's going to fade just like a shirt, right? DTF, with bad powder or bad ink, you're going to feel the lip, right? With good powder or good ink, you won't feel the lip. But with bad powder or bad ink, it's going to crack. As soon as you stretch the shirt, it's going to crack. With good ones, it won't crack. But I've gotten 350 washes on a DTF print without fading. And I get about 100 on DTG before it fades. So, but you can print picture quality. Like, it's phenomenal. So Pro Color, all
yeah,
Pro
so
Color
they're
is,
coming out with a new low end one too, right?
Yeah.
It's available in 8 and
all
13
Pro
inch.
Color is a L1800 Epson printer with a different case on it.
Yeah, well, that's the current line, but they're coming out with a new one.
It's still an L1800.
It doesn't look like it.
It doesn't matter. It's the
No, it doesn't. It doesn't look like it's the same anything.
No, it's
like
the gut. It's the gut.
It's more than just the case. Like
no,
this,
it's not the case at all. I'm talking about the motherboard.
No, I know, but they did a Kickstarter project for this thing.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't, if they were just repackaging something, you wouldn't do a Kickstarter project. You just inject.
There's like 5 companies who rebrand L1800s.
Oh yeah, I know, it's a popular one. I've looked at that one from a couple different companies.
Yeah.
But the new one they have, the 13-inch one is, I think, 2,800. Like, it's quite a bit cheaper than certainly this XTool, but it doesn't have. You still end up having to buy a bunch of things, right?
So, and the other thing you got to be honest with yourself is, those type of printers are phenomenal for someone who wants to print a shirt on demand, right? Customer comes in, you want to print it instantly. Cool. It's going to print out in 8 minutes, 12 minutes. You're not going to print 200 shirts with that.
No,
you're not. 12 minutes to print a shirt.
So if I was gonna print 200 shirts, I'd phone somebody and have it done.
You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is,
phone Rick and have it done.
I don't care what kind of printer I have.
No, but if you had a commercial printer, you could print 200 shirts in like 12 minutes.
Yeah,
15 minutes. You know, but now you're not. Now you're talking $8,000 to $15,000, right? The printer's $8,000.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? These things are just crazy. I mean, I don't personally care if XTool builds the best printer or not. What they're building is something that I think is a bit disruptive, right? And it's going to keep everyone else honest. Because I think the printer companies have been kind of running away, Epson especially, with, this is something unique, so we can charge Primola dollars for it, and
that's kind of XTool's MO, right? Like they keep. I mean, they kept Glowforge honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what happened was everyone was just modifying existing Epson printers, and then they were just using the Epson print heads. Then Epson had a class action lawsuit, and they sued, like, I'm not going to mention names, but the 2 biggest distributors that sell printers in the United States, right? Because they were allowing the ink cartridges to be refilled. They were doing chip resetters, and Epson even was going to start suing people who are selling their print heads because they're supposed to be locked. Like, if that is not on a genuine Epson printer, it's not supposed to work. So they're unlocked from China. So that's why I blew years. There was a ton of law. It was a bunch of hacks trying to do things, and now DTF is pretty solid. Like, if you're seriously interested in purchasing a DTF printer, Google Dennis Moon. He's in Texas. He's one of the first people who's going to be manufacturing printers in the United States, stateside. And because he's going to be printing them stateside, it's probably not the most affordable because you can get it made in China cheaper. But Dennis Moon is awesome. He was
I won't be able to pay the 25% tax on that.
No, Dennis Moon is awesome. Like, Dennis Moon, like, literally, if you want to fly to Texas today and go work at a shop and him teach you how to run the whole damn machine, he'll do it. Like, when I first started printing 230 more, and I'm calling him like, hey, dude, I'm having problems, and he's sending me print parts and helping me, and he's a beast.
Well, I don't care who you are. If you called me at 2:30 in the morning, I would be annoyed.
No, he. You look on Facebook, you see the little green dot, right? And you're like, hey, you're up. He's like, yeah. Yeah. So Nance said I have the Epson F570 printer. Yeah, I have that too, the sublimation printer. Honestly, I've used it like 3 times. I bought it because I thought my wife would like it because it's not as complicated as DTF.
It won't do white though, right?
No.
Yeah. See, I want one that will do white.
Yeah. So to be honest, when it comes to DTF, if you're not spending at least $8,000, just buy the prints, because it's going to be too slow, or it's just going to be too much of a headache.
No, I don't care if it's fast. Like, I'm not going to print 200 shirts. It's just not in my wheelhouse.
And I've got enough stuff going around I don't need to get into DTF, so I'm
Yeah.
not interested.
I thought you had a DTF printer.
You guys, if I need something, I'll call you.
Yeah, I have a DTF printer. I have a sublimation printer, and I have a DTF
No, I thought I thought Roger had one too.
I have a sublimation printer.
Yeah, we do a lot of sublimation here, but not so much on shirts. I'll make a few odd ones for myself, or if somebody wants something unique, I'll make it, but that's not something we sell. The sublimation stuff we sell mostly are tumblers.
Yep. And see, and that's like a unique skill, because the problem with tumblers is if you don't know what you're doing, you ghost it and you screw it up. So people who are not really good at it, they excel at it, right? Because people who suck at it, when they start just every other cup they screw up, they give up.
Yeah, we do tumblers and coffee mugs, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So a complete noob here. When it comes to, like, let's just take shirts, for example.
Okay.
Sublimation versus DTF versus DTG versus whatever other print techniques.
Silkscreen.
Silkscreen. What's the difference?
So silkscreen, let's just say you have a roofing company. Okay. Most of the time they're only gonna have two colors, if not one, for shirts. They're not full color, they're just like two color logo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna do probably a thinner shirt because they're on the roofs, and they're gonna order 200 to 300 shirts. Okay. So you're gonna silkscreen that because you're gonna pump them out super fast, right? But let's just say that same exact company wanted 6 or 7 or 8 different colors or a full color. You're not gonna do that silkscreen. All those screens, too much time. So 2 colors, big quantity orders, silkscreen all the way, and they're gonna last years. I have silkscreen shirts I made in '98. They're they look faded, but they're still there, right? They're not all cracked up. And then DTG, DTG is only good for really, honestly, like full color pictures on your front. Because the thing is that you have to put the shirt inside the printer. So you're not honestly printing any shirt over 2XL. Otherwise, it's such a pain in the butt. It's because it's, it's huge, right? And then also, like on DTG printer, yes, they have all these attachments that you can put the sleeve in, but it's such a pain in the butt, right? So like, if you want to do down the sleeve, around the back of the neck, you don't do that. So if you want to do full color, high resolution, some like kick-ass color, just the front, like rest in peace type shirts,
Mm-hmm.
That's DTG, right? Especially like a kiosk type store type thing, right? Now DTF is like the best of both worlds between silkscreen and DTG, because you're going to be able to get the high resolution, and you're going to be able to pump out volume with a commercial grade DTF printer, because you're printing a roll that's like 30 inches wide by 15 feet long, making a gang sheet, and you're cutting it up, and then you're able to press them out. So you can like have 2 different teams. One guy's running the printer, one guy's running your shirts, and so you can do a lot of shirts at DTF. And then like I make my own tags. I print my logo, the size, wash, all that inside. I press it inside. So, and I buy Hanes shirts that there's a shirt company called shirtspace.com. They're one of the largest distributors in the United States. They sell shirts. You can buy shirts, Hanes shirts that the tags can rip out, and then you put your own tag in the inside. So that's pretty cool.
That's cool. And then what about like sublimation?
Well, sublimation you get into first. It has to have a polyester base, or a coating on cotton, where it really doesn't work very well. So they need to pretty much be 100% polyester, and you're limited to light colors on the shirt because you don't have any white. So you're pretty much limited to white or light colors.
The problem with sublimation shirts is 2 things. Most of the time they're white, right? But they're thinner shirts. Those shirts are almost transparent. You can kind of see through them. It almost looks like an undershirt, not a t-shirt. So they're not the greatest quality. But I would say that something that you could run with sublimation is like landscapers and things, or guys in the trades. They all wear high vis. Those neon orange shirts, like Clack. Clack wears all that orange stuff. I guarantee that's all sublimation because it's black. So high vis orange or high vis yellow, you can do sublimation all day in black. You know what I mean? And it's gonna show up. It's gonna last. But when you're doing a full color print, there's no white behind it. So if you put it on a yellow shirt, your skin tone is going to look different because of yellow behind it, right? But if you're printing black, it's not a big deal.
Interesting.
So,
yeah, I've always heard these different terms thrown around. But yeah, I guess, is there, what's the most common? Like, let's say, I guess it probably depends.
For crafters, it's going to be sublimation. It's the cheapest one to get into.
Yeah.
right. So, I mean, you're going to see people that's going to call, they're going to use HTV, which is a vinyl transfer that's like a sticker that sticks on your shirt.
Which lasts for a while.
It's a couple washes and it's off, right?
Yeah.
So I tell people this, look, because when the Critics came out, I was laughing, right? So look, I have a 54-inch roll-in printer, vinyl plotter, cutter, blah, 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 right? And when the Crickets came out, everybody was all worried, like, oh, everyone at their mom and dad is, these mom and pops out of their house are trying to make stickers and, they want to drive down the price. And I'm like, dude, like when people come to me and want something done, I'm like, they want a sticker. And I'm like, $45. I can get made for $6. And go over there. Go ahead.
Yeah.
When that Oracle vinyl falls off and, after your second car wash, then, just come back to me. But, so just, there's a big difference in the material that you're going to use. There's a big difference in the quality when you're making it, and if you're going to use HTV for a toddler and he's 3 months old and you're taking pictures, who cares? Like, I get it. But if you're buying it for your company and you want it to last, don't waste your money, man. Just, there's no saying pay me now or pay me later. You're just going to waste your money. Just spend the money up front and it'll last. But yeah.
Well, I've learned a lot. That's good. I hope other people learned a lot as well too, because I just know there's a lot of different options, a lot of different. And it's interesting.
I tried to do sublimation, and when I wanted to do white, and I had to put the sticky piece of vinyl on a shirt, it just said, "No, this isn't going to work. This is terrible." So I gave up. I took the sublimation ink out of my eco tank and put regular ink back in, and
yeah. No, DTF is definitely really awesome, and it's open a lot. Nike and Adidas use it now. So that says something.
Which one?
Nike and Adidas
are using what?
DTF.
DTF.
Yeah. So that says something.
Yeah.
See, so, I don't want to make hundreds of t-shirts. I just want to be able to make one. Like if somebody comes into my shop and they buy something, it's like, oh, here's the shirt, right?
Yeah. Just remember, you can't sit, so I would suggest, if anything, you go online on Google and you Google like RGB color sheet. And what it is it'll have every single color, right? And you print that out. And whenever color's not printing, do not run a flush, because your first thing I'm gonna tell you is run a flush, let it flush. Because if purple's not working, you're gonna have red, blue, green, right? So whatever color's not working, you're flushing all the inks for one color. So you don't do that. You just print a chart that shows all your colors. And then whatever color, if yellow's not printing, then just print a big giant bar of yellow. Keep printing yellow until it starts working. Otherwise, because DTF ink is pretty expensive. Well, actually, DTF white ink is pretty expensive. The colors aren't that bad. But,
all right, I look forward to seeing how XTool does. They say they fixed some of these problems, so we'll see.
Yeah, no.
This sounds like a world that I'm not going to venture into. Not that it doesn't sound cool. I mean, it'd be cool. Make some t-shirts, make some different things, but
Hong Song Ink is probably the largest DTF and DTG ink manufacturer in the world. And 90%, I'd say about 50% of the inks you see, they're inks, and it's been rebranded. But yeah.
I've got enough toys. I mean, tools.
Yeah.
To learn.
Well, I don't know where we are in the comments here, Rick.
Nancy's with the last one was with the submission.
So I picked this one. Oh,
hey guys, snowy freezing West Virginia. My sister-in-law lives in West Virginia, right near the military Marine base, naval base. Chris said ghosting is one problem. I never had a problem when I use sublimation mugs and tumblers.
Well, if they're wrapped tight and you don't hot peel, you're not going to have any ghosting. They need to be wrapped tight, and the biggest mistake a lot of people make, especially with tumblers, is they just can't wait to see what it looks like, and they'll hot peel it, and it will ghost or smear or both.
Yeah, and there's high temp glue. Most time there's yellow and there's blue, and the yellow, to me, I've had it actually leave yellow behind, so I just always use the blue. Have you ever had that problem, Roger?
No.
I've made a few mugs and a few tumblers with sublimation. Came out okay. Never had any ghosting problems, but when I pull one out of the heater, I just put it on the counter and go for a coffee. So,
Well, Nancy's comments about the shirts being thick and comfy. Gildan makes a heavyweight polyester shirt,
yeah,
which is really good to sublimate on. But the really thin ones are nice in the summertime when you're out and it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, polyester is not the coolest.
Yeah. Nancy said Clack used the XTool screen printer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't seem bad. It just has a smaller screen size.
That was when XTool came out with that product. It was kind of a weird addition to their product line. But I don't know. I never bothered to get one, but it just seemed funny that they were making silk screening because it seemed like so retro. Really, for given that everyone else was already moving to DTF, right? So,
yeah, most of the time we're doing silk screen, it's because you, like I said, you have a machine that's just spinning. Like I have one of those. You're not setting one screen down at a time.
Yeah.
Clear said, Nancy, yes, I found super thick, nice sub shirts. They're good quality, but I still buy them even though I don't sub anymore. Hanes beefy tees, they go up to 5XL. So I would tell people, like, look, man, I'm not going to sell you this Gildan cheap shirt. They're like, why? It goes up to 2X. So you want a red shirt, and all of a sudden you get this employee, it's a 3X shirt. He has a different brand red, and it don't match. He looks stupid. So to spend a couple extra bucks, so later on you get a bigger guy, it's going to be no problem. It's going to go up to 6XL. And I tell you what, if you go buy a Hanes 5 or 6XL shirt, at Walmart, it's like $30. If you go to Big and Tall store, it's like $50. I have guys who come to my house and like, hey, bro, can I buy 3 Hanes 5XL shirts? They don't even want anything on it because they know that I have hundreds of shirts in my house. And they will literally just buy them because they wear them because they were buying them at Big and Tall. It's kind of crazy. Jim said, I wanted to print canvas banners and lawn signs. What is the best to print those?
We do some garden flags that are sublimated. That's done on polyester. If you're going to print on canvas, you're not going to sublimate to it because canvas is generally cotton.
So two things. Yeah.
You definitely don't want to use HTV outside because that won't last at all.
Yeah.
Two things with banners is you got to think is can you use just vinyl? Is it like 1 or 2 colors? You don't have to print. Because then you can get away with just a vinyl cutter, right? Now, if you want to print, you're talking like a Roland vinyl. And if you're going to do banners, you want at least a 54-inch. So you're talking at least $12,000. But if a lot of these companies like Got Print, M13 Printing, you can get them printed pretty cheap. Set up an account with them. And, just start, if you don't have it, outsource it, basically what I'm trying to say. If you can get a printer for $35, charge $150, you still made money. Keep doing that enough, and you can afford the machine, then buy it. Build up to it. Don't go buy a $12,000 machine and think you're going to start printing banners. That's all I'm saying.
Sounds like people's first laser sometimes.
Yes. Chris said, yep, I use digital thermometers on them before unwrapping them. Too many burned fingers.
Well, what I do is when we're cranking them out, I rarely ever do like 1 or 2 at a time. We usually do it 10 and up at a time. There will be virtually cold peeled because as I take them off the press, I just set them over on a hot plate kind of thing, or so I don't burn my table. And then when I'm all done, I'll go back and peel them.
So I just want to bring up too that it's funny that Andy's the one who brought up. Actually, we're talking about the printers. Kind of went deep in, but keep in mind that this is actually a live question and answer. We are entrepreneurs, so any real question you have about business, lasers, 3D printers, printing, YouTube, marketing, that's what we're here for. That's the whole reason we do these lives, right? At the end of the day, you can watch any one of our videos, but this type of content that you're able to ask us and get immediate feedback, that's why we do this. Multicraft said, I have used the laser Y-axis extension to make longer items.
I've done it on 2 lasers. My XTool D1 has a Y-axis on it, so it's 400 by 800 work area, and my longer Ray 5 has both the X and the Y extensions on it. My work area there is 800 by 800, but the thing's a pain in the ass to store and move around.
Yeah, so I have the extension for the Xteza V35. I never stuck it on. And then I have the Iker K1 Pro. I have the extension, but I haven't put that on it either.
Yeah, I have the D1 Pro with extensions, and it just hangs on my wall because you can't put it anywhere else. It's just hanging up behind my CNC.
Well, my D1 with the extensions on, I only use it to make port signs, and the longer width now when I make big signs for like a company, they want powder coated aluminum engraved for a big sign. That's when I use that laser.
Honestly, the reason I thought I initially wanted the extended rails is I thought I wanted to try to do those big American flags. I do a lot of military stuff, so I thought I could do like the Marine logos and all that. Then I kind of switched up and said I just want to go the CNC route to do that. Hence, CNC's coming soon. So I'll have
someday.
No, not someday. Like next month.
Did you make a commitment yet?
Yeah, well, I think you'll be happy, Roger.
Hey, did you tell us which? You told us what you discovered, but did you tell us which one you're leaning towards?
Yes. No, I did not tell you which I'm leaning towards. So
do you have one?
No, so I'm going to actually be purchasing it, and I was glad that I didn't purchase it yet, only because and I kind of messaged them. I said, I guess my bill's going up. Because I saw that they had the new rotary attachment that they were advertising, and I was like, oh, guess my bill's going up. It's the Infinity one.
The Onefinity?
Yep.
Which one?
The 4x4.
Elite though, right?
Yep.
The Masso controller?
Yep. The biggest one they have.
That's a really nice controller, actually.
Yeah, the biggest one they have. So
I can send you the design for my my in-table rotary if you want to put a rotary on.
Yeah. So they just came out. They just came out with a rotary.
Yeah.
So
they're also using a tool changer from Rapid Change.
Yeah, Rapid I saw that. Yeah, actually, I sent them a message the other day. They gave me someone's email. Said they emailed them.
Yeah, you're probably going to talk to the guy who owns Rapid Change. Good guy. I've talked to him a few times.
Yeah. So I told him I was thinking about buying that other printer, and I saw them come up, and they're like emails. So they sent somebody an email like, all right, cool.
He's at some. I know he's been buried. I guess Onefinity has kind of consumed all of his time to make tool changers for them.
Yeah.
He was going to send me a new one because my old one is now ancient. So, but the thing runs flawlessly. Like it's a great little tool changer. It's a little unnerving the first time you hear it because basically you're running a spinning spindle into a thing to either put a nut on the end of it or take one off. But it works well.
The one thing that I was kind of like is that I liked about the Shapeoko is that it was all they packaged everything for you. It was like that's why I said you hit the ground running, because like the whole fact that the Onefinity, like it doesn't have a spindle, or they don't have an option to purchase it. So I was asking them like, well, what do you recommend that I use? And then I want a rotary. What do you recommend that I use? And I was going back and I was talking with them. And then like 2 days later, I see on the YouTube, like, hey, this new spindle. And I was like, so I messaged them back. I'm like, I guess my bill's going up. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I want that. I was asking.
Are you looking at the Pone CNC one?
I don't know. Whatever.
I think the one they recommend. You can. I use
their own.
Huh?
Onefinity just released the red line.
Oh, right. They did. Yes.
Yeah.
I just bought a YouTube one, and it's been running pretty flawlessly. I wanted liquid cooled, and because I run a few jobs that last for quite a while. So,
did you all see that Pone CNC announced that they're going to be releasing a CNC this year?
I don't even know who that is.
So they build some aftermarket stuff for Onefinity and I guess probably a few other companies.
How do you spell it, Andy?
PWN CNC. They kind of went backwards. I talked to them at the Texas Woodworking Festival, and really nice guys. They hinted at it.
Oh, I saw them on Facebook.
Yeah, they're running some Facebook ads right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I've talked to these people.
Yeah, they're known for the spindle kits. They have a tool changer.
They have a tool changer. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, I talked to them. That's cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna order that. By the end of the week, I'll have everything ordered.
Cool, man. Congrats.
So I clearing up my work area, selling my workout equipment since you can tell I don't use it.
I think that's a good trade-off.
Yeah, so I'll have the little 2 trees and then the big guy next to each other.
You have a 450, 2 trees 450.
Yeah.
That's it's a good starter CNC.
See, but to me, that's perfect, though, because I want to be able to show the difference.
Yeah. As long as you don't have a 3018, then I'd lose some respect for you. But
no, but what I'm saying is that just to be honest and say, like, this is what you should expect when you spend this kind of money, and this is what you should expect in this, and not to discourage anyone in any sort of way.
Yeah, I don't like the TTC 450. It's not it's a starter. It's a starter CNC. There's no question, but it works okay.
Yeah, they sent me the spindle with it.
Yeah,
and they sent me all
the 50
bits.
watt spindle or whatever it is.
Yeah, they sent me all their bits, everything. This whole big kit. It's like 4 or 5 boxes. I haven't opened it yet.
So if you buy the Onefinity spindle, you're going to need a 220 volt outlet. You're going to have to hire an electrician.
I thought they had a 110. I'm pretty sure they had a 110.
It just went right over his head.
I heard you say.
I said you're going to have to hire an electrician.
Oh, I just heard you say the 220.
Yeah. No, Rick, I think you're going to be blown away at that. Any of those CNCs capabilities, like it's really mind blowing, and you do really you get what you pay for.
Right. Yeah. So I think what everyone's saying is the alt mill was like the underdog, who's like competing with the two bigger, like a David and Goliath type argument, right? In that a year from now, who knows, they may be better than them, but there's still some kinks that they're working out. Like I've seen people were running a job and it just stopped. And they're like, oh. And a guy just wouldn't turn on for like a whole day, and the next day it worked fine. Like it's still kind of like,
that system that you're buying is very robust,
right?
With the Masso controller Shapeoko has been around the longest. A lot of people don't know this, but actually Shapeoko and X-Carve started out as the same company. The same guy started them twice, or started both of them, and then split maybe 2013, and kind of went their separate ways. So yeah, the Shapeoko, they've been around for 10, 12 years. Onefinity came on in 2020, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Disturbed the market big time, and then now you have alt mill, and of course there's other CNC brands, but really here in the States, those are the three
top dogs.
Yeah, in the hobby CNC market for sure.
Yeah.
So
I've been I would say he's probably like the only guy who's as big as you when it comes to that, Andy, on YouTube. that's kind of like your niche.
Yeah.
Are you going to run this in your basement?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Why?
It's going to be loud.
I was thinking about building an enclosure. What do you think about that?
Like build a separate building.
Nah, I'm not gonna do all that.
I mean, it'll be loud.
You're going to have to build an enclosure, put some egg crate foam in there to keep the noise down.
But it'd be
but
pretty.
It's going to be loud.
Be pretty quiet though with that, or quieter with that spindle.
Yeah, so the spindle isn't the problem, as you know. It's when the bit touches the wood.
Yeah, well, I use my
18,000 RPM.
Yeah, I use my router table, so they're used to that sound. They're used to that noise.
Oh, it'll be louder.
Yeah, but
than
a
that,
router
I'm sure.
table tends to be like you're rounding the corners off of a little piece of wood. If you're buying a 4x4, you could be making something fairly significant, and it could take hours.
Yeah. No.
You're also going to have to buy some. You're going to have to buy like V-carve or something.
So
Or
if
you got money to throw away, buy a Spire.
So I was gonna buy from Harbor Freight Tools. They had this huge, what the hell is it called? Sucks the dust.
Dust collector.
Yeah.
A dust
Seems
sucker.
pretty nice.
Dust
sucker. Yeah.
Yeah, you need one of those too. Well, you can use a lot of people, and I did it too when I started. Just use a dedicated vacuum.
Yeah, I don't want that. That shit's too damn
But
loud.
dust collectors work differently than vacuums do, right? So,
Vacuums have that like wee noise. It's like,
well, a dust collector can make a lot of noise too.
yeah, I know, but they have like a different kind of sound. Like
Check
a
out.
dust collector sounds like a motor. A shop vac sounds like that high
Well, if
pitch.
you have, so my dust collector moves a lot of air. It's got a, I don't know, 2.5 horsepower, 220-volt motor in it. It's loud because it runs a big.
You got a
big
220 dust collector?
Yes.
Holy mackerel!
I've heard good things about. I have no firsthand experience, but I've from several people have heard good things about the DeWalt atomic shop vacs, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the one that's kind of like a Craig competition? That one?
No. I mean, you can just buy this at like
Home Depot,
Lowe's. But I heard they claim to reduce sound like 50%, and they said that it actually works well. So check it out. Yeah, the Stealth Sonic. There we go. Someone just wrote Multicraft just wrote it in the chat.
Stealth Sonic. Man, good marketing people.
Okay, let's us. Did Lightburn ever come out with a CNC program?
I have seen it. I have played with it,
But it's not out yet.
but it is not available. And the reason I think it's so when they announced the CNC application, they made it sound like, oh, we'll have one of these in 2 months. And I thought, man, you don't realize how hard CNC is. And sure enough, we're more than a year later and they still don't have it available.
Yeah.
From what I saw, basically, if you've seen Lightburn and you use Lightburn, you'd be able to use this. But it's no V-carve or Carveco. It's more of a easel kind of design tool. But it worked okay.
Yeah.
And the one benefit it will have is it probably won't be $3,000 like V-carve Vectric Aspire is.
2,000.
Yeah, whatever.
USD.
I'm converting to Canadian dollars, so it's about $8 million.
Yep, and that was the other thing with Shapeoko, right? It comes with software, so that was something
Yeah.
was not an added expense.
Oh, there's free software for any CNC, but it's all crap, right? I
thought the software that actually came with it was pretty decent.
I mean, I used Carbide Create for the first 3 years. It is, and they're actively developing it as well.
Yeah, well, that one I looked at, and when I was looking for buying my first CNC, my first big one, and it looked okay, like it looked reasonable. But there's
no
also
Vectric.
the only reason, honestly, I was leaned the other way because I was almost sold on the Shapeoko just because it seems like they have this like total package and they have this like support, right? That like, because you're not buying the spindle from someone else, you're not buying a rotary from someone else and a software from someone else. And every time you have a problem, they're like, it's not my problem. You kind of like get everything from there. When you have a problem, like, hey, I'm having a problem.
Yeah,
That's
they develop it all themselves in-house.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
But to me, just the way that those 3 bars in the front to hold the road, it just looked a little more robust. And
yeah, if you got the I forget what they call the 3rd bar.
Yeah.
I have that on mine.
Yeah,
and it does it. So they have 3 rails running across the X gantry.
I'm Mexican. It doesn't take much to get one.
And it really does make.
Of course,
it
Rick got the stiffy.
We're like rabbits.
Stiffy, that's what it is. Yes, the stiffy. I should have
Rick hit that button a bunch of times to sign me up.
So on my OnlyFans channel, the stiffy's got something completely different. So.
The stiffer, the better.
But yeah, so Andy, like,
hey, that's a great CNC shirt, by the way.
so do you think, Andy, and being honest,
yeah,
it's that was my reason of leaning the other way. Do you think that is a much more stiffer, rigid, or do you think that, like you're saying, it's still at the end of the day, it's still 4 bolts holding it on? Just
well, I honestly, I'm no engineer, and I know there's engineers in the room, so
okay, well, just say this.
My opinion.
Using yours, have you seen flex where you thought it should be stiffer?
No. What I don't completely understand about the Onefinity versus the Shapeoko is the Shapeoko has a table built into it, right? It has aluminum, billet aluminum, like solid aluminum, cross members, and then it has, perpendicular, the things that you see. So it's all tied together. Like the X and the Y rails are actually mechanically fixed to one another. And that's not true on the Onefinity.
And you don't think they're mechanically connected on the Onefinity?
Well, they're not direct. The X and the Y aren't directly. Sorry.
Down, right?
Sorry. I misspoke. Your 2 Y rails are not connected, where they are on a Shapeoko.
Well, so yeah, I know what you mean there. That isn't really a problem though, because the way when you put the thing together, it takes like 15 minutes to put it together, right? You push the gantry to the back, which perfectly sets the back end. You put a screw in each side. You move it to the front. You do the same thing, and it's perfectly square. Like I've measured mine, and it's way less than a millimeter accuracy.
Mm-hmm. And so I guess, yeah, it's interesting.
But I felt like you got more for your money when I was looking at the Shapeoko.
Yeah, if you buy the Onefinity, you will get a 1-year license to Carveco.
Carveco, yeah.
I gave my license to a friend of mine because I already had VCarve, and he initially thanked me. And now he uses Aspire.
I've heard that from several people.
So you don't think it's great? Because they had an option to get like a 2nd year for a lot cheaper of a discount.
Yeah. So VCarve.
Roger has Carveco. Oh no, not anymore.
No, not anymore.
Yeah. So Carveco came. It's kind of old school, right? And it came from the early days of CNCs, and they so the user experience on it's pretty bad. It's very powerful, but you have to change the way you think to make it useful, and that's not my jam. So I like thinking, here's how I would do it, and that's how Onefinity or that's how VCarve works, right?
Yeah, Clark, I was gonna see if they can work on that time for me. Zach said the lead time Onefinity is 10 to 12 weeks.
Yeah, they told when I bought my first Onefinity, it was 24 weeks, 6 months.
Yeah.
And this one, when I bought this one, it was.
You told me 6 months. I'm not buying it. I'll tell you that right now.
No, it won't be 6 months. When I bought my Elite, they said it was going to be 10 weeks, and it was 8 weeks.
Rick, what happened? Damn what happened.
The thing is, they build them on demand, right? In part, I guess, because they don't have it takes when you get one of these things, the UPS guy will pull up to your driveway and he will empty his truck because Oh yeah, there's just so many boxes. Like each rail is in a separate box, and it's all foamed in, so it's a big box. So you got 2 Y rails. Each of the horizontal rails on the, well, no, that's not true. The stiffy, it comes in its own box. The gantry, the other 2 rails come in one box. The Z-axis comes in a box. It's just like there's a lot of boxes. The controller's another box. Well, there's the controller and the display.
You don't have to have a laptop. I kind of like that too.
No, you need nothing to run one of these.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
you can design over on your computer and then walk a USB stick over. They do have a remote loader though, so
yeah, because like if you notice this laptop sitting on top of this fiber, that's why I have, this $300 laptop, because I'm running it between 5 different lasers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can. So I build mine. Well, I was going to say I build mine on my Mac, but my Mac runs a virtual machine, a virtual Windows machine, which is actually over on my server. So because VCarve only runs on Windows, but I just pop it up in a window on my Mac on my other display here. And
so Steve, what software were you suggesting that I purchase?
Well, you'll get a 1-year license to Carveco.
You said sucks.
It does.
It does. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't. Suck is probably a strong.
So
word.
I'm not going to beat my
powerful.
head against the wall.
So one of the things Carveco does for you for $250 a year is it does all of the 3D modeling stuff that you need to spend $3,000, $2,000 US for Aspire.
Yeah.
And it does all of that already. The problem is it'll take you 2 years to learn how to use it because it is so complicated. Yeah. Like it's just the user experience is just not good. It's
Rick,
like 1980s.
Start with VCarve Pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now they do have a good upgrade model. So, well, you're going to need Pro anyway because you're going to 4x4.
The size, yeah. I can send you I've got an affiliate link.
Okay, send it.
You're going to use an affiliate link from a guy who doesn't even have a Onefinity?
No.
Pro.
Vectric. For Vectric.
Yeah. Same thing.
So $349.
No, $699.
No, that's the desktop one.
Should be VCarve Pro. The next one.
Yeah, the middle one. Now the good thing about VCarve's licensing model is if you buy Pro now and you say you want to upgrade to Aspire, you're only paying the difference in price. It's not like you're paying some premium to get an upgrade. So you can buy, even if you have a little CNC, you can start with like Cut 2D or whatever they call the thing, and you can upgrade the desktop and then Pro and then Aspire.
Aspire's $2,000.
It is.
Yeah. Well, you're headed into commercial land, right? Like it's powerful.
So yeah, the only thing the only reason someone needs Aspire is for 3D modeling. Yes. Like if you want to actually make your own and sculpt your own 3D models, that's what Aspire's for.
So is you buy it, that's it, you own it? Or is this
Yeah, it's a one-time purchase.
Yeah.
Now they do have, when they go to major updates, like they went from 11 to 12, there's like, I don't know, it's $50 or $100 to upgrade. You can continue to use the old one, they don't care, but so there's an upgrade price, but point upgrades like 10.1 to 10.2, that's all just happens. It's just free.
So it says the 3D Aspire's 3D carving.
Yeah. So what Aspire, it does a few more things, but the big thing is if you put like a wireframe, like let's say you put a cartoon character there as a wireframe, you can then pick sections of it and you can raise it up and make like a 3D model out of it. Okay. And then shoot that over to the CNC.
Oh, so you're saying a flat design, create it to a 3D design.
Yeah, you can
do that. Put a vector image.
Yeah.
You can machine 3D tool, or you can use 3D toolpaths.
Yes.
In VCarve Pro.
Yeah, what you can't do, what Aspire lets you do beyond that is it lets you actually create that model.
Yes.
But there's millions of depth map models for CNCs. Any CNC. If you use any of the modeling tools you use for coins to create depth maps,
you
can use the same depth map to do a 2.5D CNC model.
That's cool.
You just load it in as an image and it'll take care of the rest.
That's cool. See, we're all learning something new today. Becoming well-rounded.
That's right.
So are you ready for me to sign up for your course, Andy?
I mean, sure.
I'm still waiting for the Shop Talk Live employee discount.
You guys,
he said we actually have to pay more because we're gonna annoy him. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
right.
probably. We're gonna actually
Andy,
ask
this
questions.
promo code is rate the price $50.
Yeah, you didn't put it in.
Yeah, fucker, you're gonna call me. I'm billing that. I'm beating that into the bill.
It's plus. I thought it was minus. I thought you were supposed to take off 10%. No, it adds 10%.
No, friends are assholes. Don't bother me. Hey, you busy, Andy? Yes.
At 2 a.m.
Yeah, at 2 a.m. That's right.
Yeah, I got a job. It's got to get done by tomorrow. Can you help me out?
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, that dude Dennis Moon with the DTF printers. This dude went from a little tiny shop to like warehouses, full of printers.
So yeah, Clack says the Shapeoko weighs 300 pounds too. Yeah, like the Onefinity, when you take it out of the box, you got these massive, 2.5-inch precision pipes running down each side, and the thing weighs quite a bit. But the cool thing is, in spite of the fact that UPS is going to unload a truck in your driveway, you can put this thing together in no time. Like it assembles very quickly.
Okay, so tell me what's very quickly, Steve.
If you aren't cutting something within an hour, you've done something wrong. And
really?
In fact, if it takes an hour, you've gone for a coffee or something.
Really?
Yeah, they're very quick to set up.
Okay.
Save yourself. So I built my own workbench because I wanted some specific things. But if you get the Craig workbench you put a wooden top on it, like 3/4 inch, and then put another 3/4 spoil board on it, you can assemble this thing on top of that really quickly. Yeah, like I said, 20 minutes.
Yeah, then the only thing I was thinking is I have to go buy, because it doesn't come with the what the hell is that thing called? Those boards.
Spoil board?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fine.
Right, but I got to buy that T-track and I got to design.
Well, if you want to put so I don't have any T-track on mine. I just have a bunch of dog holes, and I just.
Yeah, I would actually recommend. It's up to you. Some people like it.
Yeah,
but I put T-track in,
had them,
and I took it out. I didn't like them.
Yeah. So the problem with the T-track is you're going to put something in it and clamp down a piece of material, and I guarantee you're going to run the spindle over the top of it. You're
going to hit that clamp.
Yeah, I had T-track on my last generation of spoil board, and I put a clamp on it about 5 minutes after I got the thing up and running, and I hit the clamp.
So we suggest literally just put a piece of MDF on top and just
yeah. So like I said, I put about every 50 millimeters, every couple inches, I put a dog hole. I used well, you can use either PEX pipe, like water pipe, like PVC, 3/4 inch, or I used like the plastic EMT stuff. Like 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch, and you cut a hole, and then you make a little little cam to hold it down. I got squares and cams and a bunch of other things.
Yeah, Andy, you have to email me your links too for all these bits, because you sell bits too, don't you?
Not for too much longer.
Okay.
I'm selling through the stock that I have, and then I'm
done.
This is the first time I'm saying this publicly.
And then, drum roll.
And then I'm going a different route, just from a not a quality thing, but just like on my end. The squeeze wasn't worth the juice. So because I front
what the hell was that?
So like, when we talk about business and in here and stuff, like that was something that I tried, right? And I would buy bits wholesale, repackage them, buy them in bulk from here in the States, and from a manufacturer. And so I had to front, like at one time I'd have like $10,000 out in router bits, like just stock, right? And so it just, there's better ways to do it. So I'm looking at re-engineering that, and I am going to offer bits, but just in a different way.
Nice.
You're going to sell your used ones, right?
Hey, Roger
Autographed,
just
of
did a
course.
review on a sharpener. You can just resharpen them.
Yep.
Hey, speaking of sharpening, do you get your twist bits, like your end mills, sharpened, or do you just toss them?
Toss them.
Yeah, I've been looking for somebody to sharpen them.
It's wasteful, but what I've found is that it's not worth it.
Yeah, that's kind of the conclusion I've been to so far, but certainly things like flattening bits, like my table flattening bit, that one, I sharpen that one myself, but those ones, because they're expensive. Yeah,
that's a good point.
But I go through 1/4 inch end mills. If you use good ones, they'll last a long time. If you use the Amazon ones, you're probably going to go. If you use your CNC any amount, you're probably going to go through a dozen of those in a year. If you use like a Jenny bit, you're going to use probably 3 of them in a year if you're using it a lot.
Yeah, Rick, I'd actually recommend starting buy some cheap Amazon bits.
Yeah, because you're going to break them.
Yep.
Yeah, don't run out and buy a bunch of Amanas because
no.
Yeah, see, that's generally what I use is Amanas. But
yeah,
I figure I've broken enough bits to be smart about it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've broken Amana bits too. So
yeah, me too.
It drives me nuts. Like I did the same thing, right? I mean, like, I'm gonna go buy these bits. $50 on a 1/4 inch bit snap. Like,
yeah.
Ugh.
There's just not a lot of joy in that.
No, there's not. When you could have made the same mistake and it cost you $2 from Amazon. You bought a 10-pack.
Yeah, for the price of one, like an Amana 1/4 inch end mill, you can buy like a 5-pack of these supposed carbide steel bits on Amazon.
I've seen these crazy looking bits. They almost look like they're like spun weird. Like, I don't even know how to describe it.
Well, there's up cut, there's down cut.
No, it's like a multi.
Well, they can have
cutting it close sells them.
Cutting it close.
Oh, yeah, I just got one in. Not from him. IDC, the roughing bits.
Yeah, it look different.
Steve, have you seen the roughing bits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I think we have one. I would like to maybe get one sometime, but
we got a spammer in the chat.
A spammer?
Yeah.
Cheap views. Remove the space.
It's from Twitch. So
yeah. All right.
I think they're talking about you, Steve. For cheap views, that takes you to your other page.
You cut me, man. You cut me deep.
Requisite collectivists. You're not supposed to say that. Come on, keep it quiet.
Compression bits. Yeah, so I don't know who requisite collective is it is.
Steve says he doesn't pay for views. You have to pay him to view. There's a difference.
Yeah, you have to pay me just so you can watch. Oh, if only that were true. Alas, I work for YouTube.
Well, jumping back a few questions, it kind of got skipped over there, but someone had asked about
grab it, Roger.
Z-axis, a better Z-axis. I can't go to it. I can't select those.
Okay.
I don't have that power.
What? Yes, you can.
But there are a few aftermarket solutions for the longer B1 and the Ray 5 for the Z-axis adjustment, because them little thumb screws are a pain.
Was it this one? Yes.
Yeah. The thumb screws are a pain, and I actually started to design one and 3D print, and I've got a couple prototypes, and then I got sidetracked with other stuff, and I never got back to it. I know somebody does an aftermarket one for the 5-watt or the 10-watt head, but you get into the bigger heads, and you have to have a different mount.
Yeah, I don't know why laser companies haven't generally, as a industry, done better with these thumb screws. Who is it? Algo Laser has a nice mount. It's just
they've got a screw mount at the top.
Well, no, they have. So somebody, I'm trying to think who it is, has just a little lever you pull down, or lever, depending on where your culture is, and you pull it down, and it loosens the head, and then you can just push it back up.
Oh, we're still talking about lasers?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you, man? You need help.
We're talking about you here, all right? We're making sure it's staying on the subject.
You need help.
No, you know, another thing, Andy, is that he was selling is that wood. It's like a dark wood, a light wood.
Yeah. The BAM X.
Yeah. Have you ever used something like that?
I have not.
To me, it almost looked like too good to be true.
It's been pretty popular, but I see a lot of people talking about the price. It's pricey,
right?
But I don't have any experience. So this is is this what bit you were talking?
Yes.
Focus.
Hold on.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I'm trying to get myself out of here. Anyways, you can kind of see. Yeah, there you go. So those serrated edges, basically. So I've never used a roughing bit. IDC sent this out to me.
That's why I said it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, IDC Woodcraft sent this out to me for being on his live stream like 4 months ago, and I just checked my PO box today.
Nice.
I don't check it very often, so it was in there. Oops, it was like dated. It was dated like October 17th or something.
I see that Clack mentioned here on a comment that Algo has a flip lever on their NK2.
Yeah, I thought it was Algo.
Yeah, I remember that now.
And it works like super, super nice. Like you just flip the lever, you can move it up and down and lock it again, and you're done. Right? These, like the Acme P3, which is the diode laser I use every day in my shop until I find a nicer one. It has those thumb screws, and they're just such a pain in the ass because you got this 48-inch laser module, and you got to get your hand in behind it to tighten this short little screw. And it's like, come on, guys, give me a break.
Yeah.
Oh, Adam Stack has a unique system for adjusting their head. They have one big thumb screw on the front, and as you tighten it down, it grabs into this little like dovetail track in the back.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going into the same place, a lot of times it eventually makes grooves in there, and you can't get an accurate focus. So you get a file in there and file down the burrs that bolt made. So it's a good idea, but it needs a little work.
Don't cross thread. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just because they're using the end of a screw, right? Of a bolt.
Yeah, it needs to have something, a little bearing on the end or something.
Yeah, seems to be the kind of thing you could 3D print.
So you guys got any upcoming projects?
Oh.
So what's that, Steve?
So XTool sent me a message the other day and said, "Hey, can you do a video for us between now and I think the end of or the middle of February or something?" I said, "If you wanted to pay me $1 million, I wouldn't have time to do it."
Did you say, but Andy Bird Builds does?
Exactly.
Yeah, Andy can take care of that for you. He'll do it for $1.
Andy's gonna hire 5 Mexicans and watch them. Get done, guys. Get done.
Yeah, so I don't know. I've just been so busy lately.
Pay them $400.
Yep.
We're starting to get real busy with the greenhouse end of our business here, and I'm not going to have a whole lot of time for projects. I've been working on a flip table for my Microsoft planer, and it's like 40% done. So I need to get back on that. But like today, we had 3,000 cuttings come in from Colombia. That's in South America. In case you're geographically challenged.
Cocoa trees or something?
No, they're all ground cover cuttings. Well, the thing is, when you get them, they'll have to be stuck. That is planted right away. So I spent about 6 hours out there sticking cuttings today. So
wow.
Burned my day up.
Yeah.
Wasn't it cold there?
Crazy.
Not inside the greenhouse.
It's in a greenhouse.
Well, I realize there's a greenhouse, but do you keep it heated at this time of year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'd love to have my gas bill. We have 4 greenhouses.
Yeah, I don't have a gas bill.
You don't have a gas
anytime I use something that's gonna cost money, I just make it electric.
Oh, okay, because your solar panels.
Because I can always.
I'm
I can always
100%
put more
electric
solar
here.
panels.
You have no gas?
No gas. I'm 100% electric here.
Yeah, I'm electric and gas.
So you're a prime candidate for solar panels.
Yeah, they try to sell them to me all the time.
Yeah. Palmer said, even with the lever, though, I still have moving the module by hand. I'm hoping there's an actual screw adjust that's easier and more accurate.
I'm trying to remember. Somebody has one with that screw adjustment, and I have one. I just can't remember what brand it is.
Yeah, I'm surprised there isn't one on this. Because usually it's like just a thing you can tighten up to tighten up the dovetail a bit.
Yeah, there's one of my lasers has a screw adjustment. I just grab this little knurled knob at the top, and I can raise and lower the head. I just can't remember which.
Or there's an adjustment on the lever/lever itself.
See, that's why, Steve, you hate it so bad on the automatic leveling autofocus lasers.
Well, no, I hate it because it's slow. Like autofocus works, but holy cow, you can focus a diode laser in a second. Why would you wait for something to go all the way up and then all the way down? It's like, come on, this is the dumb idea.
Yeah.
The only thing I did like about the ones with autofocus is you can adjust the knob on top to do fine focusing yourself. I think more lasers should have that, but they don't need a motor to do the focus.
Well, the Iker K1 Pro had that, but then the X on the side was like way off. I had to like take that apart and get it right and put it back together, and then it was fine.
Yeah, I have seen some of those autofocuses when it gets to autofocus. When it says it's autofocus, it isn't actually focused.
No. It was way off.
It's like, okay, at that point, this is worse than a useless feature. This is a detriment.
Yeah.
Like a useless feature just wouldn't do anything, right? This is negative.
Yeah.
So I forget who it was. It might have been one of the Acer lasers. They had one, I think, that had autofocus on it, and it's not focusing properly. Like, take it away, please.
Yeah, they were talking about sending me that 60 watt, and that never happened, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Acer, well, they were owned by, who owned them? Was it Ortur? Anyway, somebody owned them, and I think they've kind of let that brand disappear. I don't know. I don't see too much of them anymore.
Yeah.
I have one. I just don't even remember what. I haven't used it in so long. I don't remember what model it is.
I got a couple of them in storage.
Storage?
Oh, you get these stupid lasers. You got nowhere to put them, right? So,
I have the same thing. And back in the laser room, there's a rack where I just have them on these shelves, and they're.
Yeah, I donate a lot of them to like worthy causes, and I still I store them up in the loft above my garage, and it's like 6 feet tall, a couple of stacks. And it's
just start getting away from Canadians.
What's that?
Just start giving away a little Canadian.
Well, I do. Well, yeah, I don't. I mean, I find like, schools, vets, retired vets are good. I don't mean animal vets. I mean like military vets.
I mean them too. Come on.
Well, maybe, but
first responders.
Like
no, that's cool.
Like there's lots of vets get retired early with PTSD and stuff, and they're looking for like something to do. So I do that. And
well, right now on AliExpress, I saw it yesterday. They have a $65 laser.
Geez, there's a video for Andy right there.
Yeah, you see me light up.
Yeah, I actually read through it. It has a pretty small work area, and it's a 3-watt laser.
A 3-watt laser?
3-watt diode laser. But it's $65.
The
free shipping
laser on Alibaba.
Hey, so I was looking for a fridge, and I saw this video come up because of course Facebook watches you, and it said I ordered a fridge from Alibaba, and it's like this big. He was so bad, and he pushes it, and ice comes out the front. And he's like, yeah. So $9,000 later from I have a furnace, and $4,000 later I have a new fridge. That was a welcome home from Mexico vacation. So that's
when I sold my last house before I moved here, about a week before the deal closed.
Ugh.
Like we were packed already. The fridge died.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is that it's a KitchenAid Platinum.
Yeah,
$5,000.
That's what I had. That's what I had in my kitchen, and it died.
Yeah,
and I wasn't about to replace it. So I went to Home Depot and I said to the guy says, "Hey, can I help you? I'm in the appliance section." I said, "Yeah." I give him the measurements. I said, "I need the cheapest piece of shit you can put in this hole." And I need it in the next couple of days.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I ended up buying another one, but it's like, oh.
So I think it was a Samsung or something. It was not a good fridge. It's probably dead by now because I've left there 5 years ago. So
the sad story was they told me that's typical. They're like, Rick, that's about how long they last now. I'm like, what?
Yeah, usually the higher end ones last longer. But I mean,
they told me the cheaper ones last 10, 12 years. The higher ones, all the bells and whistles last about
see,
5.
you're not old enough to remember this. Roger probably is. But I mean, when I was a kid, we had a fridge and we had that fridge in our house for my entire time. and then I moved out and my parents still had that fridge for a while. And then they finally put it in the basement for, the quote unquote beer fridge. Neither one of them drank beer, and they bought a new one. And I mean, that fridge was like, and it was old when they got it. They got it used when they got married. And so the thing was probably 40 years old easily when I left. And somebody they were complaining about it to somebody, and somebody said, "I will take that fridge. It's an old original like 1950s deep freeze fridge."
Right.
And those things were built like tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the refrigerator that my dad had was here's beer fridge, was one that my parents had bought when they first got married in the early 50s. And it was down in the basement all through the time I grew up, 60s, 70s. And when my dad passed away in 2008, it was still down there and it still worked.
Yeah. See what I'm saying?
And we gave it to a guy with like restores old refrigerators, old Kelvinator. And he wanted that. So he took it to restore it.
But in our last house, the one that died, I called a guy and he comes in and he says, "I'll tell you right now, this is probably not going to be fixable." Roger. Takes the back off of the thing and goes, "Oh, it's a fan or something. Get a new one." It's like, come on.
Roger's girls in the building. What's going on, Roger? Hey, Jay, don't play.
She needs a special icon just for this video with like her and Roger or something.
I think this might have been before my time.
Oh yeah, you missed all that.
A fridge in Canada, you just can't open the door and put stuff on the porch.
Yeah, not at my place, man.
Hey, our deep freeze went out on a Sunday. It was last month. It was in December. I just rolled it outside till the next day.
That wouldn't work where I live.
Oh, it was like 9 degrees that day, so I just rolled it outside and went and bought another one the next day.
Yeah, the weather here is too unpredictable.
Let's see how red Roger can get. Come on.
For your benefit, Andy, Jay Don't Play has been a guest on our channel.
Yes. Awesome.
Early on.
Awesome. So this explains why I saw Roger's wife on here one time.
Yeah, she was making sure.
She was making sure everything was all right.
She's
pretty camera shy. It's hard for me to get her on here.
How is she doing, by the way?
Well, she definitely wouldn't want to be on here now because she's on oxygen. So. But it is getting better. Her
that's good.
SPO level's getting up there higher. We're able to keep it up in the 90s, now the low 90s, without her being on the oxygen for several hours at a time. So it's getting better. The hole's healing up that's in her lung.
Wow.
Well, good to hear she's getting better.
Yeah. Roger said that he's so handsome that he was taking her breath away, so he had to take a break from her. Just trying to make you laugh, brother. Just trying to make you laugh.
My wife's not camera shy. She just thinks what I do is fundamentally dumb.
Yep, same with mine.
I keep trying to convince her to quit her job so she can edit videos for me.
My wife thinks YouTube is stupid.
But yeah, she just thinks it's dumb. So.
Yeah. it doesn't help that I like made Little Ricky like a little YouTuber too, right?
Well, you never know.
Yeah, I remember when he turned beet red. That was hilarious. I'm gonna have to find that and make that a short.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go back and watch. It was probably like our 4th or 5th video in this,
Okay.
in
All
this
right.
stream.
Yeah, Roger was beet red. It was hilarious. But look, guys, look, we're actually at time 8:30. So I appreciate everyone.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone joining and having great conversations with us. If you have made it through this far in the video and you're not already a subscriber to all of us, please do. And if you haven't already, smash that like button. Please do. And if you're not a member of our Facebook group, join, share, show us some of the work you made. I'm floored by the stuff that's being shared.
Yeah, there's some really amazing stuff out there.
So, yeah, be inspired, grow, learn, help, ask, all the above.
Clayton's on tonight. He's posted some cool projects.
Yeah. So, pretty cool. We actually had a decent amount of people join during today's live. So, appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Time flew tonight.
Yeah. All right, all.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Yep. See you all next week.
Thanks, all.
Yeah,
See you,
thanks.
everyone.